what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you like that. Welcome to episode 3, volume 3 of the Fantasy Formula, the most talked about podcast in downtown Hickory and possibly some other low-lying areas in the foothills. It's good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. But first, let me apologize for putting you loyal lovers and listeners of this fine podcast through the horrors of last week's show. As you guys know, I was on vacation with my wonderful family for 5 days, then on to Charleston for my Raleigh Sugars League draft, my longest standing draft at 14 years. And in my absence, you wonderful fans were forced to listen to Ad Rock for a brief 35 minutes of hell. I apologize for that, but I'm here to make it up for you today. For the first time on the mic together, the Three Musketeers, the Fun Bunch, the greatest fantasy trio ever, I am pleased to introduce, first and foremost to the group today, a fantasy champion, a wonderful real estate agent, and a friend. He's Hank Eimer. Hank, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great to be back.
So glad to see you again. It's been a while, but we're glad to have you back here for episode 3 of the Fantasy Formula. To my right, sitting in the dunce chair, that's Addison's chair for those who didn't know, the best commissioner of all time. He's L.T. Lawrence Thompson here today, my friends. L.T., how we doing?
I'm running on fumes for my draft this weekend as well, but I'm gonna try to bring the energy levels up here a little bit. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. We're excited to have you, and that's what you normally do is bring the energy levels up wherever you're around, my friend. Behind us, we've got a fantastic producer, our executive producer, Wheels of Steel, Fingers of Fury. It's Double J, Dynamite Johnson. Double J, how we doing today? Right on. Good to see you. Good to see you. So before we jump into this draft, or before our podcast here, let me tell you a little bit about my draft last week. We'll start there, guys. All right, so this draft that we had last week was in Charleston, Isle of Palms. Beautiful place, beautiful women, beautiful food, great company. And normally when that environment gets around me, Hank, LT, it's normally not good for a good environment for chatties. You kind of feel me? Some things could happen.
Potential drafting mistakes.
It's a game changer.
They're a great introduction to a game changer. Yes, Hank. I went to a bar on Saturday, maybe 8 hours.
Pre-draft?
Pre-draft.
8 hours pre-draft?
8 hours. We got to the bar at 11.
I think we know what happens to your draft. It's not that other equation. Yeah. It's 8 hours before.
8 hours prior to the draft. And this fine young lady behind the bar introduced me to a drink called a Game Changer. It consists of 8 different liquors and I think banana daiquiri mix. And so after a few, yikoramba, it was not good. We left the bar. Went to, which this was very cool. Our draft was on the beach, Isle of Palms, 3rd-story rooftop with a bar and like a grill. We were all out there. That's where we set up the draft. Ocean breeze, just beautiful.
Sounds amazing.
Beautiful place.
Now, obviously, 8 hours, starting your day 8 hours before the draft could be a potential mistake, but only if you're kind of more advanced than the other league members. I mean, do you feel like the other league members were right there with you in spirit and the game changer? Were they?
No, they. No. Well, what this is, y'all know me pretty well, but the 2 previous nights, I'd stayed up to about 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm running on complete fumes when the draft happens. And not only do I have to pick my team,
it sounds like trouble.
But I'm trying to manage. I'm on the mic, I'm doing the stuff. I've got a partner that helps me, but it's hard going back.
I don't think the drink that didn't do very much.
It didn't help. Let me just say that.
I think the point here, and I'm feeling the same kind of effects right now, is you need to be prepared for fantasy draft season. It's an endurance event sometimes, right? And you have to be in good shape. You have to get your sleep, okay?
Sleep is important.
And be prepared for the rigors both mental and physical,
Yes.
that are involved in fantasy drafts. Absolutely.
Completely
Be
agree.
prepared.
Well said.
It's very, very well said. So next year, I told my buddies, I was like, you'll never see a debacle, because ladies and gentlemen, you're getting ready to see the most debacle draft that's ever probably been talked about, and it's going to come hit you here in a few minutes. I promise you, next year, there is no way, LT. I think I'm going to slow it. I might not even go down on Thursdays anymore. I might just stick to a Friday, Saturday draft.
Yeah,
weekend.
Thursday night. That turns it into an endurance event right there. It really does.
It's rough. Well, let's jump into this thing. We've talked about it enough here. Hank, I'm going to let you start with the first round. I'm going to go through round one. This is a review of my Raleigh League Sugars Draft IOP. 14 people. This is who we start. One quarterback. Quarterbacks get quarter point for completion. 5 bonus points for 300 yards. 7 bonus points for 500 yards. So quarterbacks, they can score a lot of points. We start 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 2 flex, can be wide receiver or running back. 2 flex, wow. 1 tight end, 1 kicker, 1 defense. Okay, so here we go. Normally, quarterbacks are weighted very, very high in this format. So we start. Adrian Peterson went off the board 1, followed by Drew Brees 2, Doug Martin 3, Aaron Rodgers 4, Jamal Charles 5, Peyton Manning off the board at 6, followed by Arian Foster, who's slipping down draft boards every mock that I see. Trent Richardson 8, Lynch 9, that's Marshawn Lynch from Seattle. C.J. Spiller comes in at 10, Ray Rice at 11, Calvin Johnson 12, Matt Forte 13, and A.J. Green off the board at 14. Hank, what do you think about that first round?
Well, first pick obviously is a no-brainer. I think everybody in fantasy football land knows that Adrian Peterson's going first. The second dynamic of your league is 14 people. I mean, you got to make some moves on that first one. So, I mean, I can see how quarterbacks, these guys probably, because if you look at all the mock drafts right now, these quarterbacks are slipping from years past. And so you should be able to pick up a quality quarterback in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds. But, the Drew Brees pick 2, that it's not horrible. Aaron Rodgers, still great value in that guy right there, because you're guaranteeing that your first round draft pick is going to score 30, 40, 50. Peyton Manning, wow. I mean, I understand that it's a quarterback heavy league, but that is early for that guy. I mean, you would see those 2 front quarterbacks going that first round, and then another round going through before Peyton shows up.
Yeah, I had a draft 2 weeks ago. Brees and Rodgers did go off the board the first round. Peyton didn't go off till round 3. Right. So I completely agree. A little early, but in this league, and especially this guy, this is one of my good buddies, team name Los Wipos, loves grabbing quarterbacks. He loves grabbing quarterbacks. He's grabbed a quarterback first round for as long as he's been in the league. And we've been around in this league for 14 years. Right. So he's just a quarterback kind of guy, Right. He wanted him. He got him. Yep. So best pick of the draft, right, the first round right there, Hank, anything that stands out to you?
I like C.J. Spiller. I mean, I do like C.J. Spiller. I think that he would, in most of them, would go on the first half of that round. And, with Arian Foster being a question mark, I don't like – I mean, I would have rather had Spiller instead of Arian Foster. I mean, somebody's going to get a great pick out of Arian Foster, maybe pick 9.
They hope.
Yeah, they hope. They hope.
C.J. Spiller, to me, has just unmatched potential this year. He could be the number 1 running back of the entire league. And so completely agree with you.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. Jamal Charles going 3rd running back, correct?
Yes, that's running back off the board.
I mean, obviously had a great year last year. He was getting drafted much later last year. Sure. That's a huge step up for him. Right. That's pretty amazing. If you're taking Foster, you got to be willing to spend a pick on Tate, right?
Got to do it. And we'll see later
but
if
he's
that
great.
happens.
But you feel good about that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Tate and Foster, and you're good.
The only thing is they're saying Tate's a little banged up now, too. He's having some ankle stuff going on, so he has not even practiced. Ooh. He's not practicing. So let's keep our eye on that. Good job. Good analysis there, Hank. Let's roll into round 2. LT, let's take this one. You've got LaShawn McCoy was the first pick on the turn, first pick of the second round. Coming to you, LaShawn McCoy of the Eagles. Tom Brady, quarterback. Boom, that's 4 quarterbacks off the board. My pick 16, round 2. Alfred Morris was next, followed by Steven Jackson. MJD went off a little early, round 2. Stephen Ridley behind that. We saw another quarterback. Matt Ryan goes off the board mid-second round. Chris Johnson of the Tennessee Titans, followed by Des Bryant, Brandon Marshall, Darren McFadden, and what do you know? Matthew Stafford goes off the board, round 2. First tight end was the next pick. Second to last pick, round 2, Jimmy Graham, New Orleans Saints. I love him this year. He's off the board, second to last pick. And to wrap up round 2, Julio Jones, LT. What you think about that lineup there, round 2?
I mean, we all know I like the first pick in this round, LaShawn McCoy.
Sure.
New offense, Chip Kelly. It's going to be good. Tom Brady. I think that's probably fine. I mean, these early quarterbacks are a little hard to handle. I think what you're looking at here, MJD. That's probably a little bit of a reach there.
I think that's a reach. I think that's a reach.
reach.
Especially think about their teams really stinks. And I know he's the focal point, but last year wasn't he hurt like almost the entire year?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just getting back out again.
Yeah.
And Ridley, Stevan Ridley. I see moving up on people's draft boards, I think. It's happening. I still think that's a little bit of a reach there, too. Those are kind of my 2 question marks. You know what? I'm going to throw in Darren McFadden there. That's a little bit early on McFadden.
I completely agree. He went round 4 in another draft idea.
They are terrible.
4th round in another draft.
4th round. First pick of round 4, but Oakland and Jacksonville will fight for the worst team in the
Absolutely.
NFL, don't you think?
Their line is horrible, which doesn't prove well for a running back. And then who are they going to have throw the ball?
I think it's
Matt Flynn. Yeah, I know who it is. I'm just saying that is not a good scenario. And then they have Pryor as the number 2.
Lord, it's just getting worse.
Yeah, it's just not good.
I know you're a Raiders fan, and we're not picking on them, but will they? What will it take for them to get good again?
I don't. We've got to get 10 years away from Al Davis. I'm sure you got to get somewhere away from that family because they are not running that organization the way it is, and the history behind it and everything. They have the ability and the. I don't know.
The fans are
want
loyal.
and they want that team.
So loyal, loyal.
Yeah.
Tell me about this, and I'm not mentioning it just because this is my pick in round 2, but on the turn, I came back with the 4th pick of round 2. I chose Steven Jackson there. He's the Atlanta Falcon running back now. I've read some really good things about Atlanta's offensive line. Was in pretty good shape. They have somebody hurt on their line now. But still, Steven Jackson with the 4th pick of round 2. Is that too early?
No, I like it. He is climbing, and I certainly like it better than MJD, Ridley, or Johnson, who are your other options.
No doubt. I completely agree. And let me hit you with this real quick, too. You saw a lot of wide receivers go kind of toward the middle to the end. Yeah. Well, not a lot, but 2 of the three big ones.
Yeah.
Dez, Brandon, Marshall, and Julio Jones. Rank them. Hank, we'll start with you. Dez, Marshall, Julio Jones. Who do you like better?
I don't like Marshall because I don't like the Bears, and I don't like Jay Cutler.
Okay.
So, I think he's going to produce, and I think that's going to – but there's going to be this whole year ongoing Jay Cutler prima donna kind of deal with how bad he is this year. So I don't like that.
Okay, makes sense.
I think Atlanta is going to be explosive. I know Tony Gonzalez – we're going to talk about him, I'm sure, at the end. I think Tony Gonzalez is going to prove people – he's going to be 80 and still catching a lot of balls. Your running back there is going to be good.
Yeah.
Roddy White is out, right? He's not out. He's injured right now.
He's a little banged up. I think he's not going to play the rest of preseason.
I like Julio Jones. That's probably who I like. I like Brandon Marshall too, but there's a lot of weapons out there, and so I don't know if he's going to get a bunch. Mm-hmm. So, I think I do like Brandon Marshall. I like Julio Jones the same. I think Dez. I like Brandon. Dez. I'm sorry, Dez Bryant and Julio Jones. I think Brandon Marshall with the Jay Cutler scenario is 3rd on that list.
LT, what would you say?
They were picking those guys in the right place. Julio Jones, I agree, is probably the best value there in that 2nd round, but that's probably where those guys should be.
Okay. I think Dez Bryant, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in here. I like him as the number 3 wide receiver off the board. Actually, I guess that's where he fits. He's the middle of round 2, so yeah, because I'm a running back kind of guy, so I probably wouldn't grab a wide receiver that early either. So yeah, you're right. Good spot right in the middle of the 2nd round. Let's move on to round 3.
So far, can we review your squad so far? Here is Ray Rice, Steven Jackson.
Yeah, so,
right.
Okay, this is about 7:30 in the evening. I'm feeling good.
You feel
feeling pretty good.
Right.
The game changers haven't really crept up on me yet. I'm feeling them, but not really taking over my whole bodily functions. Okay, let's go to round 3. Demarius Thomas, first pick of round 3, followed by Darren Sproles. Don't forget, we're a full point PPR in this league. Okay, right. Full point PPR. Andre Johnson, next, third pick, round 3. Larry Fitzgerald, another wide receiver, Arizona, off your board. Cam Newton, we see a quarterback go, 5th pick, round 3, followed by Reggie Bush, Roddy White, Le'Veon Bell, Frank Gore, Colin Kaepernick, quarterback, San Fran, off your board. Randall Cobb. Andrew Luck goes at the end of round 3. Andrew Luck, round 3. Vincent Jackson, and the last pick of round 3, Victor Cruz. Hank, what you like, what you not like?
I like Reggie Bush. I kind of like him. I'm ready to see what he's going to do in Detroit. I'm ready to see what they can do with a real running back in Detroit. Right. So I like Reggie Bush. Sproles, I love that guy. Yeah. He can catch a ball.
You've had him a couple of years. I
have had him a couple of years. Yeah. He will catch a ball. You're not going to get him on third downs. You're not going to get, he's got to run for a bunch of yards out of the backfield, but I like him too. Colin Kaepernick, I'm not sold on the guy. I would much rather have Andrew Luck than Kaepernick right there. So I would have said that I would have switched those two guys if it were my choice to pick. I wouldn't have picked Kaepernick. I would have had Luck instead if I had to have a quarterback.
I completely agree.
It's amazing that they don't have Reggie Bush anymore, but they still have so many running backs in New Orleans. I mean, that's the only, that's the problem. Right. The only problem. I mean, it's the same thing. It's been the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. You've got Ingram, Sproles, and Pierre Thomas.
Yeah. I guess where we, the PPR thing, I think last year Sproles caught, I think all those New England running backs catch some balls, but Sproles is definitely the number one running back. Right. To catch the ball out of the backfield. Plus, they put him in space. They'll line him up here. He serves a lot of purposes. I like Sproles. To be quite honest, I thought Sproles and Bush would both go in round 2, but they slipped, so I thought that was pretty good value. Now, real quick, let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers running back. I don't know if you watched last night's preseason game, but he's messed his foot up a little bit. So, round 3 for a rookie, a little early for me. Let's see if he can get healthy.
Right.
Is there a rookie keeper rule in this league?
No rookie keeper rule. Okay, my pick, round 3, toward the end, Randall Cobb, Green Bay wide receiver, number 1 this year, lines up kind of like in a bunch of different spots, kind of like Darren Sproles. You can line him up in the backfield, put him in the slot, put him outside. Randall Cobb, what we thinking? We liking that?
There's going to be a lot of balls thrown up there.
They're going to score a lot of points.
They're going to score a lot of points. So if you got to have somebody, you want to have somebody that's going to get thrown to a lot in Green Bay.
I like it.
Let's look who's around me.
I have him kind of ranked near Mark Colston, who really dropped in this draft quite a few rounds.
He did. Let's see who's around me. So I had a choice of, if it wasn't Cobb, Luck was still on the board, Vincent Jackson, Victor Cruz.
Newly injured. Victor Cruz.
Oh, that's right. His foot's all banged up, too. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, out of those, out of Cobb, Vincent Jackson, and Cruz, I like Cobb the best.
Yeah.
Y'all feeling that?
I do.
Okay, right on. Let's roll on to round 4. Round 4. This is kind of where might start teetering a little bit for me. Lamar Miller goes first in round 4. That's the Miami running back. Second year, supposed to get a lot of run in Miami this year. Followed by DeMarco Murray, Torrey Smith, wide receiver, Baltimore, Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens, Dwayne Bowe, Reggie Wayne, Hakeem Nicks. We're seeing a ton of wide receivers going off the board now. Wes Welker goes then. RG3, round 4, 8th pick, goes in that spot. David Wilson, running back, New York Giants. Danny Amendola at 10. Monte Ball, Eric Decker, Eddie Lacy, the rookie from Green Bay, and then Tony Romo, another quarterback, off the board, round 4. LT, what you think?
I mean, you gotta love these 1-2 year, these rookie running backs are coming out. They're so full of promise, right? But you never know. Every once in a while, they're gonna bust, right? I mean, Eddie Lacy, that's an upside pick. Monty Ball, Lamar Miller, those young guys, a lot of potential there, but they could bust. You just don't know, but.
Give me the bust. Let me give you 4 running backs, these young ones. I'm going to give you 5. You give me the biggest bust out of them all. We got Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh, rookie. We got Eddie Lacy, Green Bay, rookie. We got Monte Ball, Denver, rookie. That's 3 rookie running backs in the first 4 rounds, right? Let's go 2-year guys, Lamar Miller at Miami, and then David Wilson in New York Giants, another 2-year guy. Who's the biggest bust out of all of them?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go... It's a flyer, Chad. I'm going to go Eddie Lacy.
That's the bust?
You look at you look at Pittsburgh. You got to look at the system a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh's going to take care of their running backs. They're going to succeed. The same is true in New York, right? Those guys tend to succeed.
Yes.
That's not necessarily true in Green Bay.
That's true. However, I think if we remember from last year, they tried to run the ball. I mean, they were 10 or 12 in rushing attempts. They just couldn't do it because they didn't have the talent to run the ball.
Right.
So they make an effort to run.
Sure.
That's why I think Eddie Lacy, I think Hugh will succeed. Hank, who do you think here in this group? The bust.
Well, the bust, I don't know if it's so much a bust, but Ball in Denver, they got a lot of people in that backfield. So I think that maybe he's got value and people are going to see him as value and probably want to start him as a flex or maybe even a number 2 guy. But I think that there's going to be so many people back in that backfield that it's going to be hard to get numbers that you want out of him. I think Lacy, like you said, last year, why did the Packers run the ball? They had so much success throwing the ball.
Right.
They've got 2 guys named Ball in the backfield.
Did they really?
It's 2 balls.
Double balls.
Unbelievable.
This is nuts.
But
We got Monty Ball and Lance Ball.
Did you get that?
that was awesome.
Thank you.
But I do think that he's just going to have a hard time getting his numbers with Moreno and the other guys back in the backfield. So I don't
Ronnie
think
Hillman, Moreno, the other Ball. I mean, I agree with you. If it was my pick is Monte Ball too because of the depth in Denver. Plus, no Sean Marino really came on. You remember in the playoffs he won somebody. I think he won the championship for Josh in our league because no Sean Marino. So anyway, I'm not saying draft no Sean in the top 10 rounds or anything, but he's still there. He's still there. All right, let's go on. We're moving to round 5. Actually, talk to me about my pick. It was Dwayne Bowe in round 4. This is when it kind of gets a little dicey for me. But Dwayne Bowe is the number 1 in Kansas City. Alex Smith's throwing in the ball. I like Dwayne Bowe better than Torrey Smith. I contemplated Reggie Wayne there. I passed on Reggie Wayne and Wes Welker for Dwayne Bowe. Is that the right spot, or did I make a mistake there?
I think there's a lot of good people right there. I mean, Amendola right now. I mean, people are all about him right now. And if he ends up being the Wes Welker in New England, you did make a bad move right there.
True.
But I mean, I don't think you can look back. I mean, I think you picked the right guy with Alex Smith.
Was Steve Smith available?
We'll find out very soon.
But I think you made the right pick right there. I mean, Wes Welker's certainly going to get the ball. If Amendola has a freak-out year, then he would have been the man to pick there. Yeah. But,
Amendola traditionally gets hurt, so I was worried about that.
Yeah,
but
he's climbing, though, and people are
all up.
People are excited.
Brady's got to give
Brady
it to somebody.
loves it.
Yeah, Brady threw him a touchdown preseason the other day. All right, let's hit round 5 real quick. We'll fly through this. Jason Witten off the board, first pick, round 5. Marcus Colston next. Antonio Brown, Vernon Davis, Darrell Richardson, running back, St. Louis off the board there. Deshaun Jackson, Jordy Nelson, Chris Ivory, followed by Pierre Garçon, Ryan Matthews, everybody's favorite San Diego running back. Most of the cats who drafted Ryan Matthews a couple years ago they never want to see his name again because they let him down so much. You know what I mean? But maybe this is his year. Could be. Tavon Austin, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, Mike Wallace, and Russell Wilson. Whose turn is it? Is that Hank L.T.? Go for it here.
Is it my turn?
Oh, go ahead, Hank.
I think the thing that I like about what's happened with your league is seeing that people took quarterbacks and wide receivers so early. You still have some quality running backs back here.
Still a few.
So, I mean, in the 5th round, I don't envision our league doing this. I don't envision by 5th, 6th round that we're going to have starting running backs
on the board
to be there. Chris Ivory, he is a terror when it comes to injury. So, I mean, if you want a guy that's going to play a quarter of the year, that's your man.
See, that's what I'm talking about. There's more risk. You right. You can draft. You right. You are right. You can draft a running back here later, Hank. But the risk is just so much more than grabbing one early.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, I think that there's the Marcus Colston, Jason Witten, Vernon Davis, Jordy Nelson, another receiver that's going to get a bunch of balls. Your quarterback Russell Wilson, Ryan Matthews. Somebody's got to run the ball there, and I know he's one of a few.
Yeah,
but Deshaun Jackson. He can't have as bad a year as he did last year, could he? So I mean, I think that there's still you can fill some voids, but I'm amazed that there's running backs that are actually going to be playing in this round.
Very good point. Let's look at it real quick. I chose Tavon Austin. Okay, so this is when we start. I'm starting to game changers starting to take effect to my body here, and so I go up on the board. I do like Tavon Austin. I'm thinking I drafted him a round or 2 early. There's still a lot of talent on the board.
Round or 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 rounds early.
Possibly. I I'm going to stand behind the pick. All right, I'm standing behind the pick, but I think it was a round too early. I should have, now that I look at the board here, I'm thinking I could have maybe grabbed, I don't like Mike Wallace this year. He went a couple picks later. I guess I could have grabbed my quarterback there at the end of round 5, Russell Wilson. He was really, I think, the last one. He was the last one on the board. I think we've seen 12 quarterbacks go by round 5. So maybe I should have grabbed him there.
So you didn't have a quarterback at this point?
There was 2 guys that didn't draft a quarterback. It was me and my buddy BP. And at the last pick, round 5.
No, Eli Manning was. Oh, go ahead. I mean, he was through Mount Round. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead.
Yeah, true. Anyway, so that was the Tavon Austin pick. This is where it starts really going downhill. Let's go to round 6. Round 6, Tony Gonzalez. Hank, I know you love him. Atlanta tight end off the board. First pick, round 6. Now we got the rookie from Carolina playing at Cincinnati, but the Tar Heel, Giovanni Bernard. Have y'all watching Hard Knocks?
I was going to go. So we had a guy at my draft this weekend that said you have to watch Hard Knocks if you haven't watched it yet. And the highlight of the show is really Giovanni Bernard.
Absolutely.
He is this little. Do you know the stats on him? Do you know his height or weight or anything?
He's less. I want to say he's 5'9", maybe.
So he's a small man.
5'9", 208.
He is a small man, but he can cut. I mean, you watch these videos, you watch the tape, and he can cut. It's amazing. He looks like a starter out there, but then you start hearing the linebackers. And they love to play him because they know if they get their shoulder into him, it's going to be big time. And they're laying him out.
They love to hit him. You're right. That first episode, They were just trying to knock his butt on the ground.
They were picking on him.
Oh,
they were picking on him.
They made a point to knock him. They were trying to knock him out.
Small little rookie.
Yeah, but I think big things from him. I was surprised to see Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis go in front of Giovanni Bernard, to be quite honest, in this draft. I like Bernard better. More potential. Next, we saw Jermichael Finley. We're seeing a little run on tight ends here. Steve Smith goes off the board there in the round 6, 4th pick. We'll talk about
Steve Smith?
I think it says Tampa Bay receiver Steve Smith goes off the board there.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Rashard Mendenhall, Arizona Cardinal. There he goes. Miles Austin, Cecil Shorts, D'Angelo Williams, running back, your Carolina Panther. Antonio Gates, Greg Jennings, DeAndre Hopkins, a little early. I like him, but a little early here in round 6. Shane Vereen, T.Y. Hilton, and Sean Green. LT.
There's something a little stinky that kind of jumps out at us. Can you give us any background on the?
Yeah, let's look at maybe the pick 4 in round 6. It looks like it's Steve Smith, though, Tampa Bay wide receiver, not the Carolina Panther wide receiver.
You would think that the Carolina wide receiver would go first.
Typically, that's where you would slot him there.
Steve Smith, the Tampa Bay wide receiver, still in the league?
I think last time I looked, it said NA beside his name, like non-available or non-active. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, yes, your podcast master here, Chad East, put Steve Smith, Tampa Bay wide receiver, on the board in round 6 instead of Steve Smith, Carolina Panther. Let's all learn a lesson from this. When you're doing your draft boards, if you do the stickers like we do, sometimes there's a dude's name there's another Steve Smith or Chad East or whatever there.
Chad, if you don't mind me interrupting you.
Sure.
Folks, this is a stunning, absolute, awful, rookie, just amateur hour. You'd expect it from Addison. If it was Addison, you wouldn't be that surprised. But we really expect a little bit more from Chad.
JJ, can you remove LT from the room immediately? I need to remove him from the room, please. No, but I completely agree. I mean,
and just for the record, Steve Smith is in fact a free agent, so he's out there looking for a team.
Exactly. And as of yesterday, he is no longer on the Game Changers team. He was cut yesterday, so now he's not only a free agent in the real NFL, he's a free agent in our fantasy football.
So how did
good managerial move right there?
So how did your league react to that? Or at what point was this discovered? How did the league react?
This is a wonderful.
This is great stuff.
This is a wonderful point that you bring up. So this happened in round 6. No one noticed this until round 10.
Ugh.
Round 10. So I'm outside. We're taking a slight break, and then the next thing I know, I walk back into the room, and I feel a few beer cans hit me in the back of the head, and a lot of booze directed right at me, directly, it's at me, and I'm like, what happened? And it's just a lot of laughter, and I look up in round 10, Steve Smith on another person's team, and then I realize the faux pas that had been made.
So now, do you have a penalty? In our league, for something like that, there's a problem with doing something like that, and it's not
Requires
good.
tequila?
Yeah.
Yes. At this point, there was no more alcohol I could absorb any more alcohol. I couldn't do it anymore.
I think as rough that is for your team, that you're trying to build here, for your ego, your morale.
That's
as rough as it is. You have to look at the silver lining, which is that you gave 13 of your friends great joy, right? That's a positive, and they thank you for that.
Yes, and 3,000 listeners to the Fantasy Formula. We're bringing joy right now. Right?
Yeah,
that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
And I'd like to add that this happening, the news of this happening has literally swept the town of Hickory. I was at the local garage today. Aiken Black, a fine establishment, getting some car work done, and I heard about it there before I ever heard about it here on the Fantasy Formula. It's sweeping town.
Well, listeners, again, learn the lesson. Don't let it happen to you. Pay attention to the fine print on the little labels. If it's, you got to look at the team name on the label too, just not the name of the person, but the team name. So I'm glad it happened to me so you guys can learn from it. Just don't let it happen to you. All right, so about this round, my friend, round 6, anything besides that one? I know that's the dud of the entire draft, but what did you like in round 6? Because there's one that really stands out to me that I really love in round 6, LT.
Let's hear it.
Shane Vereen in New England this year. He's lining up just like Sproles. He's lining up just like Randall Cobb. He's in the backfield. He's in the slot. They're pitching him the ball out. He's catching it. I love him this year. Round 6. He probably belongs there, but I could see him maybe even climbing up draft boards to round 5. That's just mine.
He's taking all the Woodheads. He'll take his and Woodheads. So I agree with you.
Exactly right.
To summarize here a little bit, you've got, I think, some pretty standard wide receivers going in this round, but really some interesting running back. Between Bernard and Vereen.
D'Angelo goes off the board there. We know what's going on in Carolina with Jonathan Stewart still not being able to hit the field.
Right.
If he can't play, D'Angelo's going to get some run. Right. So, D'Angelo in the last couple of drafts we've done, he's been lasting to round 8, but with what's happening to Jonathan Stewart, he's climbing fast draft boards.
And there's a local favorite, Torin Poole, currently 3rd string, works out in Hickory.
Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
It's all going on in Hickory, ain't it?
Yeah.
Gotta love this town. All right, let's go hit round 7 real quick. We started with Stevie Johnson, wide receiver Buffalo Bill. Anquan goes off the board next. Eli Manning, there's the other quarterback you were talking about, round 7. And what is so funny about this, because everybody knew my strategy of waiting, they started getting second-round quarterbacks before I could get my first in this spot. Do you see what's happening?
They felt like they were doing that to you?
Yeah.
For absolute, there's an absolute fact they were doing that because they know I wait. They know I wait, and they were trying to burn me.
Their draft strategy was go after Chad.
That's right, burn Chad.
Burn Chad.
Eli followed by Andre Brown. We saw Gronkowski. He lasted till round 7.
Oh.
Round 7.
Wow.
And you've heard about what's happening to Gronkowski. They're saying he looks so good right now. He might get to play a little bit earlier than anticipated.
Yeah.
What a steal in round 7.
Yeah.
Ahmad Bradshaw goes next. Sidney Rice, Mike Williams, Mark Ingram, Michael Vick, another quarterback, goes off the board before I get my second one. So that's another backup to a team off the board. Lance Moore goes next. Emmanuel Sanders, Kenny Britt, and then Andy Dalton. Another quarterback goes before I get my first one. Hank, come on, give it to me.
I think this round was a great round for a lot of people. I mean, we already talked about Eli Manning. He is consistently in the top tier of quarterbacks, and to get him at round 7 is huge. Gronkowski, without a shadow of a doubt, if that man has the kind of year, and you know that if he's on that field, he is going to get the ball. The rookie tight end that's playing right now,
Sudfield or something.
Yeah, he's playing great. But Brady will feed them so much that if Gronkowski is on that field, that is a great value. I think some of these other receivers, the older guys, Sidney Rice, the Anquan Bolden,
right.
it could be good guys because they're not going to have the kind of, they're going to be alongside somebody that's going to get a lot of attention. I think Kenny Britt's a bust.
Do you really?
I don't like Tennessee, though. Yeah. And so I just don't like Kenny Britt.
Yeah.
And I think that there's probably some other receivers that I would have taken before him or looked at other positions.
Sure.
I mean, certainly I don't know what his team is stacked up like, but I just don't like Kenny Britt. I don't think he's going to produce this year.
Yeah, good point there. Kenny Britt's got the potential to be a superstar, but he's got Jake Locker, I think, throwing to him, so that hurts. But a tidbit of information. I think LT wants to say something too. You know, if Gronkowski does come back early, this new tight end, this Sudfield or whatever, they're thinking about lining him up where Aaron Hernandez was. And, dude, 2 tight ends again in New England doing damage. I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
It could happen.
He can catch, too. I mean, that Sudfield guy's got great hands.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about this one, LT?
Interesting to see Vic kind of climbing above some other quarterbacks like Bradford, Rivers, Palmer that you think might go before him. Clearly, Tetroggins is excited about his potential in the new offense.
So Tetroggins has Kaepernick and now Michael Vick. And you know Michael Vick was named the starter today. Mm-hmm. You heard that. So who knows? Yeah. Michael Vick with a little confidence that, you know, a round 7 pick in Michael Vick to be a potential top 5 quarterback in the league, because it could happen. You know, it's happened before. In round 7 to get that value, we'll see. We'll see. All right, round 8. Here we go. Brandon LaFell goes first pick of round 8. Vic Ballard next. Golden Tate. Everybody likes Golden Tate in Seattle this year. He slips I thought he would go earlier. Last till round 8. Sam Bradford off the board. Yes, that's my first quarterback. That's who I chose in round 8. It's Sam Bradford. I'm a little worried at this moment. Little worried. James Jones next. Phillip Rivers goes 2 picks after Bradford. Jared Cook next. Carson Palmer. I wavered between Bradford and Palmer. I think Palmer's probably going to have a good year this year. Alex Smith was next. Ronnie Hillman. Seattle D. First defense off the board, round 8. Chris Givens, followed by Fred Jackson and Michael Bush. What you got, Hank?
LT.
I'm sorry, LT.
Jump on it.
So you're telling what I'm hearing here is that in a quarterback heavy league, you waited until round 8 and you took a tier 5-ish quarterback as your starter.
Because what I thought would happen,
Bradford.
what happened in round 7, I wanted Eli. Okay, I wanted Eli. I was thinking to myself, no one is going to pick their backup quarterback now, so I can still get the guy that I wanted. And I really wanted Eli. Well, there goes Eli.
I know that you're supposed to wait until we go through the whole draft to kind of review your entire team, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that this draft was kind of a disaster for you, Chad.
It was a debacle. I will completely agree. I mean, I pride myself on having good drafts year after year, and my last real bad draft was that league, the one I was in with y'all. Remember that one where I think I won 2 games all year.
It's horrible.
This one's very close. It's sad.
We need. I think when we're done here, I want to talk about the ability to bounce back from a bad draft, the potential there. Okay, so there's still, I like people kind of scraping around, still looking for some running back value here. Again, there's still, there's some, obviously we're not talking about starters now, but we're talking about a Vic Ballard, a Ronnie Hillman, who actually.
I like him.
Maybe a good pick. Yeah. And Fred Jackson, Michael Bush, obviously a backup for Forte there. There's some value there. I like what people are doing here.
Out of these 4 quarterbacks, who would you take as your backup? We've got Bradford, Rivers, Carson Palmer, and Alex Smith. Out of those 4, they all went in round 8.
Lord knows we don't want him as our starter.
Yeah.
Damn, I walked right into
Have you
that.
ever seen, has a player fallen out of favor quicker than Rivers? We know it happens in fantasy all the time.
So true.
But that's amazing. I'm willing to take a flyer on Rivers on the bounce back.
Okay, I like that. This next few rounds, let's just highlight a couple of the picks. Round 9, Hank, I'm going to mention this to you because it was Darius Hayward-Bay. He was a Raider. Now he's a Colt. He's in a tough spot. I think this T.Y. Hilton, I don't know if we've talked about him yet, but that dude is going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
So Hayward-Bay is competing with him there. Ben Tate, there you go. Our guy who drafted Aaron Foster did not get him. Did not get all the way in round 9. Wow. You would think if you get Foster, you go get Ben Tate, maybe round 7 or 8.
You just go one round ahead. Does he really need Chris Givens?
Exactly.
That's a mistake right there.
Great call there. Ryan Broyles getting a lot of love in Detroit, opposite of Calvin Johnson, so he went in round 9. We also said we saw Schaub go 8th pick. Who do you like better, Schaub or Bradford?
Bradford.
Yeah, I think I like Bradford better.
I'm with that too. Another interesting thing in round 9, and we'll move on. Percy Harvin, he's hurt. He goes in round 9. Percy Harvin, We don't even know if he's going to come back. But I guess in round 9, is that where you roll the dice? Or I think I might wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, because, with his headaches, it was minutes before the game that he would say, I'm not playing. So, it is hard to bet on Percy Harvin.
That's very true. He could he'd ruin your season. You start him a couple of times, goes out with a headache. That's 3 L's.
Right.
Sleep. Round 10, here we go. A couple good ones here. Vincent Brown. Now, I chose Vincent Brown in round 10. There's Phillip Rivers got to have somebody to throw to. They're saying Malcolm Floyd is number 1, but Vincent Brown is creeping because they lost that Denario Alexander in the preseason. He's out for the year. Look for big things from Vincent Brown this year, guys. Big things. We also saw Josh Gordon, wide receiver in Cleveland. He's suspended for 3 or 4 games, but he will be Brandon Whedon's go-to receiver in Cleveland. And this Brandon Whedon kid in the preseason is making it look easy. Granted, it's preseason, but after last year's debacle, he's playing very, very, very good ball. And then you see in round 10 at the bottom, Steve Smith from the Carolina Panthers goes in round 10. Let's move on. Round 11, highlighted here. The first kicker goes off the board. We try to make a point. Kickers should never go off the board until the last round. This dude's going off in round 11. Garrett Hartley. We're 14 rounds, and this dude's going in round 11. This is just horrendous.
Unbelievable.
This is horrendous. Other interesting ones, Danny Woodhead. I think, Hank, you mentioned him earlier. San Diego. If Ryan Matthews can't get it done, look for Woodhead to get some run. They're already talking about 50-50 right now. It could be more if Ryan Matthews continues to fumble because that's his big thing. He can't stay on the field, and he fumbles. Jordan Cameron, y'all heard about this tight end? Cleveland, caught 2 touchdowns preseason game. He's built like Jimmy Graham. Good tight end sleeper this year, y'all. Good tight end sleeper. Next up, round 12. Nothing really stands out too much. Y'all see anything good there? There's a Noshawn Marino off the board, last pick.
That Powell, running back from the Jets, with Ivory sitting there. He could end up being somebody because Ivory has not been healthy for a year.
Great call.
Coming out. So I like Powell there. He could end up getting some numbers.
If Ivory can't play, Bilal Powell's next in line, and they got to run the ball. The Jets, they got nothing else to do. That's good point. I like that pick too. Round 13, Pierre Thomas. That's the New Orleans Saints running back. Deep on the depth chart, but he always seems to score touchdowns and get in the game, He's always playing. He goes off the board there. Another sleeper I like is Reuben Randall, went off the board in round 13. In the Giants offense, he shall catch a few. And then in round 14...
Dustin Keller, who picked him up because I believe he's out for the season.
Another pick by me. Another pick, Dustin Keller, out for the season.
Did you see him just sidestep that? You weren't even going to bring that into the play.
I wasn't even going to talk about that at all. I drafted this before the injury, so okay, this team was selected before the injury.
Okay.
But anyway,
it's still tough. It's tough. Your team's hurting.
Thanks a lot. All right, so interesting thing here. We've seen the teams. Yahoo has this new thing that they give a report card. Okay, they take everybody
being held
drafted.
back,
dude. With a D plus, I barely escaped failing. But guess who had the best?
Yahoo ranked your draft a D plus. The computer, the machine, is bringing you down.
Exactly. But the dude that had the A plus, he was the Arian Foster draft. So anyway, I think Yahoo don't know what the hell they're talking about, to be quite honest. But
everybody's out for Chad.
They always are.
Everybody's out for Chad.
Well, great job, guys! Fantastic review of the Raleigh League Sugars Draft 2013. It was a success. And with that, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors.
We'll get back to your show in a moment. Just a reminder, you're listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Find out more at themesh.tv and give us feedback on what you like. And now, as promised, back to your show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Formula, the hottest podcast in all of Western North Carolina. At this moment, let's have LT talk a little bit about his draft that he just had last weekend. LT, go ahead.
So I was just returning from the Battle Dome draft. I was as champion, I was hosting the draft. This is a draft with high school friends. I was hosting the draft in beautiful New Hampshire. This is an auction draft. This is an auction draft. So I want to get into a little bit about what makes an auction draft kind of unique and some strategy issues that you might want to think about going into an auction. Make sure you're prepared for those if you have an auction draft. Before we get into that, Chad wants me to give you a little color. Yes. I'll tell you, what we did this year, which was great for the people that are doing a travel draft, is we did a whole Olympiad, okay, around the draft. Started the night before, started Friday afternoon with golf, okay? We had home run wiffle ball, home run derby. We had, we were on the lakes, we had canoe racing. We had like a diving event. We were like paddling around on the mats, just being idiots.
Impressive.
Cornhole, obviously, ladders, some more pool. It was a great kind of backdrop for the draft. I mean, it kept us running the whole time. It was a lot of fun. And added, just another layer of competition for the weekend, which was great.
Sounds like the difference between your draft and our draft, we're always in a bar for like 8 hours a day while you're out enjoying nature.
Yeah, we were drinking beer at the lake, but awesome. but I hear you. I hear you. Enjoying nature. This draft, we were enjoying nature to the utmost.
Sure.
Up in New Hampshire. All right, getting into the auction draft. Now, just in case people aren't familiar with this format, what we're doing here is that everyone gets a certain amount of money going into the draft, and a player comes up, and everyone asks how the players are chosen. You nominate like a snake draft, but when your turn comes up, you're just nominating a player, and then it goes up for draft, and then you could up to your limit draft as much as you want for any one player. So if you want Adrian Peterson, you can get him if you're willing to spend the money.
What's the time period on the auction when it starts?
It's literally, so we're doing it on the computer. I think it might be tough to do in a live group, would be my one kind of thought. Haven't done that before. We're doing it on the computer. And so the time limit is after someone posts the last bid, it's going 3, 2, 1. So if no one bids, so there's not really a real time limit like you're thinking of in a snake draft. If there's only one bid, for $1 for a player, about a couple seconds later it'll start counting down, and that'll be short. Okay. But then you might have someone like an Adrian Peterson that's starting at $5 and getting bid up in increments of 1 or 2 or 3, and that's going to take a little bit longer. And then you get into the whole issue of people battling over players. There's that whole element, just like you would think in an auction. Excuse me. And let me tell you, that's a potential problem. You got to be careful. We've seen it 100 times. It's one of the great humor moments in the league. And I have to admit, happened to me this year. When you see a player that's about to go and you don't think that he's reached full value, so you try to bid him up to get to full value, and you get stuck with him. You think for sure, if it's going for 24, I'd say, I'm going to hit him up to 25 or 26 to make sure that they're paying full price, but you don't really want the player, and you get him. And that happened to me.
Who was that player?
I had RG3 relatively early in the draft, and then it was Matt Stafford that I took. Not bad to have RG3 and Matt Stafford, but the question with an auction is you could have, kind of like a snake draft, you could have been spending that money somewhere else.
Sure.
Now the big what I want to kind of paint up for people, and I've got a humor moment in here, working up to it. You basically have 3 strategies, right? One is to go big or go home early, and you see it. I mean, we have one team right here to show you or to go over, where they have Marshawn Lynch, Ray Rice, Jamal Charles.
Oh, wow. So they spent half
3 players
more than
that
half.
you would consider to be first rounders.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay? Their next player didn't go until about what you would consider to be about the 6th or 7th. Well, and heck, that's not even accurate. He probably didn't get someone until about the 90th player. I mean, his next player off the board is Ryan Otten, Jacksonville tight end. Dion Sims, Miami tight end.
Come on.
Double tight end.
Rashard Mendenhall. I mean, that's the problem. When you draft really big early, you get a bunch.
What's that dude's quarterback? Who did he get? What quarterback did he get?
Sam Bradford. Tell me that isn't right.
That's correct.
Oh, it couldn't have been.
All right, so
it couldn't.
It stings in here.
That was awesome.
Gosh.
That was pretty brutal. And I think. Here's another example. Same phenomena. Adrian Peterson and Arian Foster went for the same team. Oh. That's $72 and $66. That's $140. He only has $60 left. His next team off, 49ers D. Hakeem Nicks. James
Sam
Jones,
Bradford.
Russell Wilson. And, he did okay. I mean, that team's not bad, but it's clearly front heavy. Now, and this is the humor moment, we had another guy. There's the other option, which is to try to wait for value to occur after all the idiots are kind of sorted out by overbidding for the big names. We had one guy. We had gone through what would be the equivalent of about 40 or 50 players. So we're talking about like the equivalent of like going through the fourth round. He had drafted no one.
Waiting.
Imagine he's waiting. Yeah. He's waiting for his moment.
Chatty strategy.
He's waiting. And we're all sitting here saying, "What is this guy doing?" Oh, and by the way, he had gone radio silent on us too, so we didn't know what he was doing. Okay, we couldn't.
A little panic in the air. Do you feel a little panic in the air when you look at him?
We're like, "What's going on over here with this guy?" Then all of a sudden, Danny Amendola comes up. Okay, and the bidding is about $14, and all of a sudden, this guy who has no players, $200 left. It's $115 for Danny Amendola. Apparently, he'd been trying to type in 15 and miskeyed 115.
So does he get stuck with
Which
that?
would have taken him.
Yeah, that's a Steve Smith moment right there.
It's a little bit of.
What do you do?
We after kind of the moment of hilarity that he gave us, like I was talking to you earlier,
Yes.
we decided to go ahead as an obvious keyboard malfunction to back it out.
He's got good friends.
Man, you got a lot of friends
the
tonight.
story's not over, okay? Because this guy made, and I think this is a critical mistake here, he waited too long. He ended up, we get down to the end of the draft, and he realizes he has $40 left.
Wow.
Which is, a huge chunk of his
Get the
budget.
best kicker in the land.
And he got Matt Bryant for $40.
Oh, come on.
I kid you not. And just to give you a sense, that's a $40 is a Matt Forte or a Frank Gore. I mean, any of those guys are going for $40.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get a lot of value for $40 that he just completely missed out on. So you get the point here that I'm trying to illustrate. There is in an auction draft, you've got to manage the whole process. You can't go all big at the beginning, okay? And you can't wait too late, because if you wait too late, there's just not enough players to get out there. They're all gone, So you've got to be able to strike a balance, pick up a couple big name players without burning through your whole budget, but certainly don't wait too long. That's a big mistake.
Chad, can I ask you a question about that? How do you think this strategy would work on the on your format? 8 hours of drinking and then going to draft, having to manage money and.
Great question, Hank. I probably would end up with 4 kickers, 2 defenses, and a tight end.
It could be better.
And Steve Smith.
It could be better than the team you have today.
No doubt about it.
Just as one more side note on this draft, Steve Smith, Tampa Bay free agent, was not drafted. Man on the field.
Thank you very much. And actually, that's a good description of the auction league. We don't have any leagues in Hickory that participate in the auction, but that would be fun.Maybe a couple years down the road, maybe we'll create one. Good job there, LT.
I would especially, for people that are doing an online-only draft where you're not meeting in person, I would strongly tell you to consider it, because it's great. It is better online, I think, than a snake draft.
Perfect.
Snake draft, I think, still probably better in person.
Sure.
Live.
Completely agree. Well said. And before we leave today, it's been great having you guys here today.
Had a great
we
time.
have our big draft this weekend, Saturday, 3 o'clock it starts. We're going to the lake house. Cornhole tournament kicks off at 3. Draft normally starts around 6:30. I'm pumped. I'm excited about it. It's always a fun draft. We go on the lake a little bit. What are you looking, Hank, I know you're drafting 2. I know you don't want to give away your draft secrets, but do you have somebody, maybe not your number 2 pick, somebody down the road that you hope ends up on your team? Is there a player that you would like to have on your team?
Number 2. Can I address number 2 first?
Just hit me with whatever you want to talk about.
I am the number 2 pick, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I was number 2 last year, and I took Tom Brady. Okay, had a good year, ended up second in the league, had a great year. But the key to number 2 for me is health. Everybody that's from 2 to 6 has a question mark, except a couple.
Sure.
Except a couple. So it's going to be interesting to see where this falls out over the next few days. As far as next rounds, I think quarterbacks are big. I think quarterbacks are big, and there's a chunk of quarterbacks that are really up at that top. And I feel like if a quarterback would fall to me at 2 in the second round, which I don't think is going to happen, that I would want.
You would grab him then.
That I would grab him.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I don't know how that's going to play out.
Sure.
I think I like a lot of guys. It wouldn't offend me to go back. Our league's back, if you can get them. But I do think that I have before walked into drafts and said, I'm going quarterback, I'm going running back, I'm going running back, I'm going receiver. This one is kind of I know I don't want Darren McFadden.
Right.
I know that there's some guys that are coming back around to me that I don't want.
Right.
And so I think that I would really my second and third picks are going to be the two are going to be key for me. I mean, they all are, but I do feel at number 2, your second round and your third round are just so important, just like you have at 11. Just like, your first 3 picks are so important.
It's because once you make that pick, you're going to wait another 20-some picks before you can pick again, and that's a long time to wait. So you got to make sure you have success with those number second round and third round. Completely agree. Well said. LT, anything that you're really looking forward to this weekend?
I hate to be non-informative, but I'll tell you, I am literally going to have sleepless nights from here until Saturday because I don't know what to do either. Sitting on the 6th spot, obviously going to have to be a little bit reactive, kind of get a sense of how I feel about these players.
It's got to be better than the last few years, right, for you?
What?
It's got to be better because Hank's a champion. He's sitting across from me. I'm a 2-time champion in this league.
I've really struggled in this league. I don't know how to explain it. I'm looking to redeem myself this year. I need to just get on the stick and really get it done.
I think this might be your year, LT. And before I wrap it up, I drafted 11 in this Raleigh league that we just went through, and I'm drafting 11 in our Hickory league too.
It can only get better.
I guarantee you it can't get worse, right? It cannot get worse. So with that being said, again, guys, thank you so much for coming. I'd like to say, Addison, we miss you, but we don't miss you a lick. JJ, good looking out back there. And we'll review this draft, okay? So next Tuesday, we're going to come back and we'll talk about exactly what happened during our draft. And I hope it brings you all the players that you want.
I appreciate that. I hope you have a much better draft.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking to have fun Saturday.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Until then, Fantasy Formula, over and out. Peace.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.